Hello. It's 2:30 in the morning. Oh my gosh. Okay, so I don't know why I can't go to sleep. It's probably just because I haven't tried. So, my friend and I were talking earlier, and I said, I would love to make YouTube videos, like be an audiobook person, because I think it would help me actually read through books completely. Because I have like reading ADD, I read through half of every book pretty much that I own, and I never finish them. And then if I finish one though, then it kind of starts a chain reaction. I try to finish the others, but it's been a while. I really need to finish a book, people. I'm awful. I need to. And I have like 12 books I'm in the middle of. Anyway, as I'm sitting here, I actually have 9 books on this one table, which is kind of sad, but that's how I am, whatever. Like I said, I'm an English teacher, so I love fiction. I love fiction, but as I teach, I am learning that it's not necessarily that I don't like other genres, it's that I haven't found writing that I enjoyed in those genres. So, I am really working on being a more well-rounded reader, because anytime I see, poems like at the beginning of the Twilight books, they have poems at the beginning, and that to me says that an author is really well read, and whether that's true or not, I'm not sure, but that's what it seems, and I want to be that person that people look at and they say, man, she's super well read. Like, I can't believe this English teacher has read all of those different books and all of those genres. So that's really kind of my goal for this. But that being said, I'll just kind of tell you what books I have on this table in front of me. First one is Robert Frost. Like I said, I read the Twilight books, and they had Fire and Ice at the beginning of one of them, and that's by Robert Frost. So I figured, why not? I really enjoy poetry, actually. I think one reason is because there's deeper meaning behind what things like what the poet is actually saying, and I want to figure that out, and I think it's cool because some things are open to interpretation. If the author never says what it's about, then it's really what you take away from it. And I think that's just so neat. It teaches you to truly think for yourself. So that's kind of one reason I like poetry. The other reason is because it's short. And like I said, I have book ADD. So getting through something, super easy. Like, I don't know, 10 lines, you're good to go. So that's one reason. But yes, the second book, Me Before You. I may have already talked about this. I'm not even sure. But, I mean, not in this video, but maybe another one. But this movie is so good. And I really love reading books about disasters. I guess with people, I would call them more trials than disasters. Things that cause them to not be able to do things that other people can, because it's a different look on life that personally I've never had the struggle with. I've never truly been like injured. I've played soccer for 13 years of my life, and the worst I ever did was tear my MCL. So it's just really neat to read about and see what kind of happens. So I knew if the movie was interesting that the book was going to be interesting. Little fun fact, I watch the movies before I read the books. This may not be true, but this is my reasoning. If the if the movie is good, the book is guaranteed to be good, because the book always tells more details than the movie does. But if you read the book first, you're going to be disappointed in the movie because you're like, well, they left out all this stuff. What? Why would they do that? So I like to watch the movie first and then read the book. And if the movie's not very good, I'm not really sure that the book would be that good, because if the book tends to be better all the time, then I mean, I would hope that it was still good, even if the movie wasn't that great. But if I'm not interested in that storyline, I probably won't be in the book either. So I just figure probably waste your time reading or watching a movie for an hour or two, then spend a few days and waste your days reading a book that you really just did not enjoy. So, Br'er Rabbit. I assigned one of these stories, it was in our literature book, for my 7th graders last year, and I really liked it. And the librarian gave me that book, and I was like, oh my goodness, these are the same stories. So apparently, Br'er Rabbit is a big character. He has a few stories in here, so I thought that was so neat. And I'm really excited to read this. And you book lovers out there, get this. The smell. Oh gosh. The smell, guys, of books. It's so weird. I truly can. I don't know if it's a sensory thing or what, but when I smell a book, I can think back to where I was, what library the book came from, what store it came from. I don't know. I don't know. It may just be an English teacher thing, it may just be a reader thing, or it may just be a weirdo me thing. I don't know, but I don't care, and I love it. Sorry, super crazy, okay. Counterculture. Oh, I hit myself in the face. Guys, it's so late. It's 2:30. Anyway, Counterculture. I'm reading this and I'm super excited because I want to, like I said, I want to broaden my horizons, and this one is about Christianity and how to really not make Christianity a comfortable thing, because things that are worth doing are not always comfortable. Working out, not always comfortable. It's not working out for me. It's fun because it really, really gets rid of stress. Truly. So I look forward to going to the gym, but it is not easy. It is hard, but it is worth it. So just like that, the Christian life for me, and really, I truly believe for anybody, if you really understand Christ and His love for you, and just the life and the joy that you can have through Christ, it's always going to be worth it. No, it's not going to be easy, but it will be worth it. So this book is talking about, so far from what I've gathered, it's not necessarily about like fighting with people. It's not about fighting with people and trying to be right. It's about listening and sharing what Christ truly meant for our lives and for it to be like at its purest form, and the fact that we need to get back to that and stop trying to win arguments, but instead try to share the gospel in love. And it just deals with a lot of issues that we deal with these days. So I'm excited about that, and I really want to try and grow in my faith. And I think, getting a different person's perspective on life and people who maybe have traveled different places more than I have, it's really helpful, as well as, memorizing scripture and reading the Bible and, learning what God has to say. I don't want to just be a hearer of the word. I want to be a doer. And that's the most important part. That's what we're called to do. We are called to share the gospel and share God's love with people. And I think we get so distracted by our everyday lives because we're busy. We're busy people. And sometimes that's a good thing, and sometimes it's a bad thing. We need to give ourselves a break sometimes, but remember that no matter what you're doing, just do it for Christ and make sure that that's your focus. It's not always as hard as we make it seem. But yeah, so sorry, that was a long spiel, but that's kind of the reasoning behind some of these books. I don't tend to read them, and I was really excited because that kind of clicked in my head, like, hey, this really can help. It's not just saying, oh, well, you're doing everything wrong. It's saying, look at it this way and see what you can do in your life and to change your life even more. So, yeah. that's the reasoning. Also, I guess along with that, Not a Fan by Kyle Idleman. My father was recommended that book by another coach that was at his university that he coached at. And I really wanted to read it. It sounds interesting. The title's catchy. And again, it has to do with the Christian life, but I think it's really talking about self-reflection from what I've read. And also, that's the one I'm doing on audiobook right now. Because, like I said, I really want to read it, and I want to be able to get through books completely. So, I'm hoping that helps me stay accountable for that. And the last 4 are grammar books because, like I said, I'm a teacher. So, this one is teaching you the rules of grammar. It gives a few exercises. Thank you, Lord. I don't know if I have any other English teachers watching this. I have to relearn everything I teach because I have not had actual grammar in so long. It's probably been ninth grade, and I've been a teacher for 2 years, which means I got out of college like 2 years ago, and I was in it for 4 years, and right before that, high school and all that stuff. So it's been a while. The other one, Writing English, Grammar and Composition. Again, grammar and composition. And the last one, this is our 8th grade grammar book. I have it on hand just in case. I've gone through this a few times. Some of the stuff is still a little confusing, so I try to use my resources. I always stress that to my kids. They say, Miss Crawford, what page is this on? And I'll say, use your resources. Where should you look for it? And I'm not trying to be smart. I just think if they have those resources at their fingertips, have them use it. Have them figure it out because they're smart kids. They, you want them to think for themselves, and you're trying to get them to do that in their life. So I think starting with small stuff, even like that, just is kind of helpful. Again, I'm a second year teacher, so I don't know everything, but I'm learning, and I think as long as you have a learning spirit, that you will be a-okay. So, yeah, those were the books I had on my desk. Also, this was inside my desk. Ooh, literary listography, people. I am addicted to this book. It's awesome. Every time I read a book, it goes in here under some category. These are just some, this was cool, books that were gifts and books I gifted. A book I was given, At First Sight by Nicholas Sparks. I love books that don't always have a happy ending because that is not life. Life doesn't always end perfect, and we're not perfect. So I think it's neat for some authors to stay true to that. I think it's really exciting when things end well in a book because sometimes in life things do end well, and I think that's fantastic. But it's really neat to see authors stay true to, reality, and because we don't want people to sit there and think that life is going to be perfect. It's going to be exactly like a movie because then they're let down, and you don't necessarily want a dose of reality sometimes, but sometimes that's for the best. The Little Prince was given to me by a college professor. Nancy Drew was given to me by a college professor. And A Book of Promises, I gave that to my siblings and my brother-in-laws. So, and I think maybe my parents too. Authors I've seen speak, David Platt and Robbie Gallaty. Awesome men of God. Literary classes and book groups I've participated in. To my college professor, if you ever see this, I'm really, really sorry. I could not remember all the English classes I had taken, but these are the ones I remembered. The Victorian Social Novels class, that was so cool. Loved it. Young Adult Literature, and then Bucket List Book Club. I was in a book club for a little while, and it was funny because it's called Bucket List, and that was on my bucket list. Favorite magazines and online reading resources, sources. People's Style Watch. I have a problem, okay? I wanted to be a fashion designer before I became a teacher, so that's kind of a big deal to me. Teen Vogue, I loved that magazine. And then She Reads Truth, the website. It's really good for devotionals. Love it. How I've been introduced to books over the years. one of my sisters, fellow teachers, students. I love looking at what they read because I think it's easier to relate with your kids that way. Anytime I refer to my kids, by the way, it's my kids at school. I'm single. I don't have kids. So, my students, high school librarian, when I was in high school, we talked about books all the time. It was cool. She even let me pick out ones for her to order. Actresses who discuss books in interviews. Sarah Jessica Parker said something about The Goldfinch, and I really want to read that. It's huge, but she said it was really good, so I would love to look into that. And then my book club. Words I love and hate the sound of. I hate the sound of duff. That's apparently like a slang thing. I don't like that word. I think it's weird. Crusty. Oh gosh. Pimple. Why, people? Why? Just leave it alone. Leave it alone. And fart. As weird as that is. Words that I love. Euphoria. Love that word. Wanderlust. Derogatory. No, I don't like derogatory, like the actual meaning. I think the word sounds cool. I don't know why. Derogatory. It's pretty neat. Digress. My college English professor used this word so much. I looked it up after I said I have to know what this means. And every time he would say, and I digress. And then we would move on. And that's kind of what it means. The word end, because you have closure, no matter if it's a book or something else. So that one's awesome. And decompress, that just sounds so calming, so calming. And then amiable, that's used in Pride and Prejudice a lot. I really like that word. Ooh, people. Memorable characters who died right before my eyes. Augustus Waters from The Fault in Our Stars. Romeo and Juliet from Romeo and Juliet. I am sorry if I just gave that away. And then Johnny, Mirren, and Gat from We Were Liars. That book, honestly, I thought that was okay. It was not one of my favorites, though. It's kind of confusing. The writing style is a little bit confusing. It's neat. It's a different writing style, but it was rough. Books that taught me something. The Bible, Radical by David Platt, and The Outsiders by S.E. Hinton. Let's see. Sorry, I'm trying to find another category that has a good bit on here. My beach vacation books. That is my happy place. If I go on a vacation, I would love for it to be to the beach, and I will read for hours on the beach, and I'll probably get burnt in the process, but that's okay. L.A. Candy series by Lauren Conrad. I love her. I don't know why. I just always have. One of those Malibu Nights, that was such a random pick from the library, but it was so good. So good. I loved it. It's kind of a mystery-ish, if you will. It's by Elizabeth Adler if you want to read it. It's great. And then the 5 Love Languages Singles Edition by Gary Chapman. And that one is funny for my family because I am the person who has friends that are in long-term relationships. And not like all the time, but when they choose to be in a relationship, it is a long-term one. I am the one that friend that is always single. A lot of the time it's just by choice. It's totally fine with me. But I'm the one that's always single, and they're like, oh, we don't want you to feel like the third wheel. And I'm like, I promise I didn't actually feel that way until you just kind of said it. So, but I think it's just funny. I love to laugh about it now. Just because that's who I am. I think it's fine. I like being independent. If you like to have someone around, though, that's awesome too. I think it's great. That's just not who I am. I'm not that way. But yeah, they always kind of make fun of me for being the single one, so I thought it was funny that it was singles edition. And also it had a coffee cup on the front, so I have a sick coffee addiction, people. It's real. It is real. So yeah, that was my spiel. Okay. Books I read in high school: Hamlet by Shakespeare, The Great Gatsby by F. Scott Fitzgerald, Monster by Walter Dean Myers, The Tempest by Shakespeare, The First Part Last by Angela Johnson, The Lost Boy by David Pelzer, and The Twilight Saga by Stephenie Meyers. I've read more than that, but I cannot remember all of them, so those are just the ones I really remembered. The Lost Boy, I would not recommend reading unless you are a psychology major. That book, it damaged me. Like, I cannot recommend that to young kids. There's no way. It's realistic. It is nonfiction, which means that it actually happened. I'm amazed at this man who wrote this book and his bravery to do so. But once you read it, you cannot get those images out of your head. Now, you can take it on the positive side and really appreciate the family that you have, looking back at that story and what happened. I was blessed enough to have a good family. I'm sorry, I'm really getting choked up. I'm telling you, this book damaged me, truly. I'm blessed enough to have an amazing family, and so when I read stuff like this, it's very hard for me to realize that people came from homes like that, and I cannot imagine, and I can't begin to understand what that was like, and I don't want to understand, because I'm amazed that they even went through that. So yeah, I would not recommend that one. Children's books. So this is my top picks for each genre. I don't have a lot in all of these because, like I said, I'm really trying to broaden my horizons. So these are the ones I do have. Children's. The Giving Tree by Shel Silverstein. Love Shel Silverstein. And then Are You My Mother by P.D. Eastman. I used to think that was a Dr. Seuss book. It's definitely not. It's such a good book, though. Oh, my word. Spirituality Radical by David Platt. That book truly changed my life. It really did. It gives you a perspective about people around the globe and what they are going through, and it truly makes you want to make a difference and to go and be a missionary and lead people to Christ and be so active about sharing the gospel. So that's incredible. I would recommend that to absolutely everybody. And then young adult Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone by J.K. Rowling, or Rowling? Probably Rowling, I think. Gosh, that one's good. That one's good. Short stories and novellas that are great. I am getting into short stories. Again, I have like book ADD, so short stories are nice because I feel like I've accomplished something when I finish them. Anything Edgar Allan Poe. Can we just, right now, like, that's yes. Yes. That's all I can say is yes. Okay? The Telltale Heart. Just read the Cask of Amontillado. Loved it too. The man was truly messed up, but he wrote awesome stuff. I don't even know. It's just interesting, people. It really is. And then The Opposite of Loneliness by Marina Keegan. She writes with no filter. No filter. I would not recommend that to younger kids, but the writing is powerful because it is so, it's so candid. I'll just say it that way. It's so candid. My favorite mysteries and suspense novels. I do not like horror movies or horror genres of anything, period. So this is the closest I'll probably get are mysteries. Coffee House Mysteries, love those. The Spiderwick Chronicles and the Series of Unfortunate Events. I love those two because they're really good and you can read them in one sitting and in less than a day. So that's really nice. Let's see. Ooh. My top historical fiction and historical nonfiction picks. Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen. The Watsons Go to Birmingham. I have a special place in my heart for that book. And then The Outsiders by S.E. Hinton. Let's see. Sorry, I'm trying to find another section that has a good amount. Favorite troubled characters. Derry from The Outsiders by S.E. Hinton. I'm not even going to tell you why. I think that you just really need to read that book. It's amazing. And then favorite literary lovebirds. Elizabeth and Darcy. Hands down, my favorite. From Pride and Prejudice. They are both such strong characters. And they, oddly enough, they work so well together. Because, and again, this could just be me, but I think it's really important to kind of have somebody who tells you like it is. But they do it in a loving way. Because if they can do that and you can do that for them, you guys will learn and you will grow as people and you'll grow together. You need someone sometimes who's going to put you in your place, because I don't want someone who agrees with me all the time, because then I feel like I'm dating myself, and B, I know that I'm not perfect, and I don't want someone to sit there and accept things when I'm doing something wrong. I need to be told when I'm doing something wrong. So if they can do that in a loving manner, and them be open enough to listen to my critiques as well, I think, and again, for me to do it in love, though, I really think that's important, and that's how a relationship gets stronger. So those are my two favorite lovebirds from Pride and Prejudice. Let's see. Books that made me laugh. So my sister read Twilight first, and before I did, and we were on vacation in Gatlinburg, and I hear her laughing in the other room, and I go in and I say, "What are you laughing about? Why are you laughing so hard?" And she says, "This girl is just so clumsy." And so I read the books after, and I laughed out loud. Bella is so clumsy. I don't even understand. It's just hilarious. So, Stephenie Meyers, good job. My top 20 most beloved books. Again, I am going to try to read more, but this is just my list so far. It could change later, or it could stay the same. Who knows? But The Great Gatsby, Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, The Fault in Our Stars, The Last Song, One of Those Malibu Nights, The Opposite of Loneliness, and The Outsiders. So far, those are my favorites. And I think that's where I'm going to end this, because this video is so long. It's almost 30 minutes. I am so sorry. But I really appreciate it if you watched. So yeah, comment below on books that you really, really loved. I would love to add those to my list and hopefully eventually either make audiobooks of them or just read them myself. So, alright, thank you again for watching my late night book talk, I guess. Alright. Bye!